evening, everybody, and welcome to show number 149 of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right.
I was trying to mimic everything, but it's fine.
I don't know what you were doing. And my behind the glass is Dave Sturchio suddenly became he was one of those for the deaf people trying to tell me like volume up. I'm like.
Those are my favorite. Oh man, there could be a topic and a segment all about those people in general. Like when they're doing the national anthem, they're like,
it's so excited.
It's so good.
I'm glad they do it because we don't want to go there, but I don't need it on my show. You doing it to me when I have good eyes, hearing, everything. Oh, they say I do. But anyway, back to this show, the Jimmy Palumbo Show. Another smooth. One thing about Jimmy Palumbo Show, I start off like a shitty old like Ford F-150 truck. It's always like but once you get out on the turnpike, it goes on. Show number 149. Very exciting times here. Of course, Dave Sturchio behind the glass, coming from Chop Sports Media Studios down in the downtown Matawan. Of course, I'm here in downtown Mahwah, New Jersey, from the Average Dining Room Studios with the new stuff in the background. Keep chopping. The kids at home just enjoy it. And show number 149. Dave, how are you?
It's funny because as soon as I saw Chris Monday, obviously after the Packer loss, and we both were sporting our beloved Yankee hats. We're moved on. We are ready to go. We are not doing this. Listen, I'm a football enthusiast at heart, so I love watching football no matter what, even if it's not my squad. Yeah, I'm a lot better this week than I was last week. So we're 1 week removed from elimination.
A patient in.
It was rough last week.
That was a rough one. I get it. I bet.
But I'm good now. I'm good. I'm with Yankees, new uniforms, all this other shit. We have to get.
I know some Giant fans and Yankee fans. If they're in the playoffs anyway, as soon as their team is eliminated, that is the final second of the sport they will watch the next year. I'm a little bit that way with. I'm that way with hockey. I'm the opposite. I don't watch anything to the playoffs. And the minute, like if you ask me I swear to God, the last 20 years, who's won the Stanley Cup? I know the Devils won it. I don't even know if it was 20 years ago. I couldn't tell you. I think maybe Vegas won it one year. I think Tampa Bay.
Yeah. See, you're in it. Tampa Bay was.
But I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I swear to God, if I had a gun to my head and said name 11 hockey players, I'd be like, just pull the trigger. I'm out.
But that's, you know what? That's universal. If you're not, I feel like hockey's one of those sports where you can't be in between. You're either like a very big hockey enthusiast, or you're just like a casual, Rangers are in the playoffs, let's do it.
I tell people all the time that I'm not a Devils fan because they weren't here when I was in my ute. But I would tell you this, there's only 20,000 Devil fans in the world. They all go to the game, so they sell out. And they also go to bars and want you to put the Devils game on. So, like, there is no, like, hey, can you put the Devils game on? Like, yeah, I'll get, no, can you put the Devils game on? And if they don't, they're like, okay, you know what? We're going to leave.
What channel is it on? NBC Sports 3 West.
We had DirecTV. It would take me 45 minutes. And then I had one guy, I was like, hey, anyway, you can put the Islander game on? I said, no, I don't need your business. I'm not looking for the Islander game. And it's like going the regular. It was like 8 games into the season. I'm like, Rangers are playing good. I'm like, what? This is like, that's like when Jerry Gerard on Channel 11 used to give scores because they're showing on at 10 o'clock, and he would give scores of a Knicks game. The Knicks were playing Phoenix. It'd be like, and of course some scores. Knicks up 8-4. Like you don't give an update of an NBA game 8-4. Like he would do that. And then he would give like the races in Aqueduct, like the D and the G. Like what do you know? Anyway,
that's really funny. Actually.
It is. But first of all, anybody gets what I just said. Yeah, that was a driving off the road moment. I wish Artie Lang was listening to this because he would absolutely cry at that. Oh my God. That's also a Vinny remember a sports line? You had to call and pay $1 to get scores. And he would say
I was actually just thinking about that not too long ago, about like how good people have it now, right? Like they don't have it as good as, the interesting part about when we were kids or when I was growing up is we didn't get all these games. So you would have to watch the ticker, right?
You have to watch the ticker.
Now these kids are getting school cancellations by getting a text to their phone. Meanwhile, my day, I was in Woodbridge, so I had to wait for the W's to scroll across the bottom of the screen. I'm like, come on,
Yeah,
come on,
you remember like
horrible.
college football on Saturday? It'd be
Oh my
9,000 games.
God.
That's so funny. Vinny Del
Rutgers, Midwest,
Centro.
South. It's
I
like,
remember it was cost $1. Why my parents let me do it? My dad probably didn't know. I didn't call that much, but it was Vinny Del Centro sports line update. He would say stuff like, Giants took the opening drive 51 yards for a field goal, but it has been all 49ers. You just hung up the phone, you know what I mean?
I just wasted $1 on that.
I used to love that. One time a Rutgers announcer did that. Rutgers took the opening drive, 41 yards for a 38-yard field goal, but since then, it has been all Virginia Tech as Michael Vick. It's like 61-3. I just love, what a great way to that. It has been all. You can just, as soon as you hear that, you hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got my card here, a unique card here at Shea. Well, first of all, I'm going to get into this. Before we go into the card, I'm a huge Reggie fan, as you know. They actually sell Reggie bars still. Did you even know that? I have the original wrapper somewhere in one of my files. I kept it for shits and giggles, but I saw this in the store. I'm like, I have to get it. And I thought, I haven't had a Reggie bar since I was 13. So I'm going to eat it on the air.
You got to tell me if it's the same texture, same, like, is it nostalgic right away? Or is it like they've definitely changed it over the years? How's this going down right now?
You know, it's like,
this is great television, by the way. Yeah, I love it. I love it personally.
I'm eating a Reggie bar. I'm not a caramel guy.
Caramel? That's what he's saying out there.
Caramel,
He's
peanuts, and chocolate.
Wow, he does that. Everybody knows the rules. 2 bites. Now, just so you know, starting next week, there's going to be a brand new segment. Jimmy tastes chocolate. So we're going to figure out what good chocolate. He's going to grade them, just like Dave Portnoy of Barstool. That's funny.
Fuck Portnoy. Jimmy Palumbo. Oh shit.
You all right over there? Getting a glass of milk?
I took a big bite.
Yeah,
they're good. Reggie bars are good.
Anybody listening on audio, you have now found yourself
horrible.
You found yourself at the local Krausers. And you're like, there's got to be a Reggie bar around here somewhere. 7-Eleven, Quick Check, any of those varieties.
It was actually in a party fair.
Party fair?
Yeah. So maybe this thing is 45 years old.
What the? Wait, I don't even know what party fair is.
Party City.
Oh, Party City. All right.
You'll be there with your kids. Don't be an asshole.
I've been to Party City.
It's called Party Fair here. Some shit. All right. Well, I ate a Reggie bar. Thank you, Reggie. Oh, what a smooth start to the show. Now I got to have a sip of coffee.
So now Jimmy is parched. Brought to you by
Jimmy shitting himself all day after that Reggie bar.
Jimmy took a bite, and since then it's been all colon.
Jimmy took the opening drive at a Reggie bar. That's so funny.
Oh man.
Well, my card. Getting back to the segment. Getting back to the show. Who am I? What a smooth start to my show, to my program. A weird one. It's at the top. Don't know why I have it. Tony La Russa, a manager card. Remember how shitty they were when you were younger? You get a manager card. That's
right. I told you we did the other one. Who's the other Italian white-haired guy?
Whitey Herzog? No. You had what's
Dodgers.
Oh my God, we stink, people, bro.
Dude, if this was live, we would be getting driven off the road.
No, we can't. Now it has to stay on the show. Tommy Lasorda. That's him. So so when you get the manager card, you're like, what a waste of ink. Those cards that went right to the spokes. Right to the spokes. Well, I have his 1987 card here. I learned a little bit. First of all, those of you scoring at home, I'm going to make you read this. You ever read the book 3 Days in August?
No.
Dude, it's the greatest baseball book ever written. It's written by the same guy who did Friday Night Lights. He spent 3 days, Cardinals Cubs series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He had access to, La Russa gave him total access, except during the games, he stood like in the alley so he
Mhm.
could hear shit. This guy's a big time writer. And dude, it's like inning by inning of what goes on. And then they fill in backstory about his career as well. It is wild, man. But it changed the way I watch baseball games. Like things why is he doing that? Why are they not bunting? All that different stuff. You'll read it in 3 shits or 2 hours. You'll have it read.
Oh,
It's
short book?
yeah, it's just an easy read. But if you're a baseball fan, especially it's a national league, so you're not going to know every player like you would if it was an American League book. But it's really why guys get benched. Like if the manager tells you not to swing at the first pitch and you swing at the first pitch, you do that like over 2 games. And you wonder why, hey, how come they don't play so-and-so that much? Yeah, now you know why. I told you.
Wow.
And all about stats. In other words, they'll have stats that say, hey, look, this guy throws a fastball first pitch. Jump on it. We had all that different stuff. But it's not so much now. I know they have exact science to it, but it's almost like that old ball thing. Like, hey, this guy likes to get, fastball first pitch all the time. Get ready to go. And one of the players just took 2 strikes on the first 2 pitches, didn't swing. And LaRussa, like the writer said, he could hear the players like almost giggling in the bench. LaRussa was losing his mind. And he also would write little things down on pieces of paper and keep them in his pocket. Little things like, Sturchio can't hit the curveball when it's 3-2, like a little shit like that.
Yeah,
The book is great. The book is great. But I did learn, first of all, I didn't realize how many years do you think LaRussa managed? Let's see if you can get I would have been wrong. How many
40.
years wow, you had him at 35.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, he just stopped
I know, he
like
just
2 years
retired,
ago.
yeah. His
on his
record,
card, on the card, does it have his blood alcohol level?
well, he got caught twice at the end. He's got cancer now, though. He's probably doing shitty. His record is 200. It's hard to even say this. His record as a manager is 2,884 wins and 2,499 losses. Okay?
Now, is that up to date or is that on the card?
No, that's not on the card. I looked this up.
Okay.
I do a little more.
How many wins
research
does he
than
have?
you did. 2,800, really, almost
Jesus
2,900.
Christ.
He's second place to Connie Mack, who must have started like during the Cro-Magnon. 8 days was managing like ball in the jungle. He was 10 years with the A's, 16 with the Cardinals, and 10 with the White Sox. It was like White Sox, A's, then Cardinals. He won the division 13 times, which I think is funny. His record in the postseason is 71-61. He has 6 pennants, 3 World Series titles. One with
Did he manage McGuire and Canseco? Was he around there?
He was all part of that. Yep. One with the A's, 2 with the Cardinals. 4-time manager of the year. He played 5 years as a player, and he batted 199. So he must have. Well, now he'd be making about $9 million a year. And his pitching coach was always Dave Duncan, who's in the book a lot. And who is Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, another guy who was a pitching coach for like 35 years. And his son, Shelly Duncan on the Yankees. You remember him?
I remember Shelly Duncan.
He used to hit bombs, but he stung. And he also is a lawyer. He graduated from law school, passed the bar in Florida, which I find funny. So that's my guy.
He passed the bar, right? A bunch of bars on the way.
Yeah, he got caught DWI just as he got hired. And I always thought that was a bad hire you just can't have a 78-year-old guy managing.
It's just that goes for any sport. You feel like they're only it's like I don't like to compare
as soon as any
like
manager,
professional wrestling. It's like professional wrestling. When you how many times have you, not you particularly, but like if you go into one of these VFWs and you go see one of these shows and it looks like you got that old guy in the corner that was wrestling since 1965 and he's got a match tonight. It's like, what? So it's so like,
true.
Where does I understand burning passion for the sport and the games, but like, fuck, man, it's got to be, it's worthless.
I just think you become, especially coaching today is the old days, like, you took off 3 months, went to Florida, enjoy yourself with the kids. Now it's like, there is no downtime. Like Aaron Boone is less busy than he is starting in about a month. But he's looking at film. He's probably looking at some shitty guy from Antonio Dominguez Ramirez, who's like 8 years old playing
how much international pool money do we have left?
Yeah. we're really high on this kid. We don't know how old he is right now. It says he's 9.
I am 12.
But we're not sure because his parents are 50. But it's just
he played in the Little League World Series 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row. That's right. He was 12 for anyway. But yeah, but no, Tony La Russa, I always like after reading the book, you got to read this book. It's that good.
Okay.
You got to trust me on this one. It's not like a bad read. It's like you'll get it. Like it's the innards of a baseball game, and you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Then this, yeah, I like
I
that
wish
kind of
there was
behind the
one.
scenes
There's
shit.
got to be a book like that on. I would love to see a book like that on an NFL
Oh yeah,
coach where a guy has access. Well, you know what? It's kind of like Hard Knocks, but in a book, but specific to the game. They literally go through. Well, another favorite part is the guy on the Cardinals pitching was against. Remember, Kerry Wood was pitching on the
yeah,
Cubs,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
threw like 110 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy on the Cardinals, his fastball was like 84. He was like one of those like off speed guys. And LaRusso keeps on saying that's the beauty of baseball. The other guy, they're both throwing a 2-hitter. It's like 0-0 in the fifth. And my guy looks like he's pitching softball up there. The other guy's throwing rockets to the plate. But that's baseball, Susan. Anyway, who do you got? I
Well,
got Tony La Russa.
well, speaking of pitching, speaking of the NL, I have a pitcher according to this card, which was made in 1990. Pitcher for the Red. It looks like he was a reliever, just based off the record, but not that great. Started with the A's for 3 years, 85, 86, 87. So he's actually managed by La Russa. So that's kind of crazy.
Right.
And then he's finished, well, at least in this regard, he finished with the Reds. But I know the name, and I think he pitched into the mid 90s, Mr. Jose Rijo. Jose
I
Rijo.
remember him.
Yeah, I remember him. When I pulled this card off the top, I said, this guy looks familiar. At least for the credit of this card, at least they have him like mid pitch instead of the whole like wind up thing. Like everybody posts.
Like that.
This is actually an action shot. So I was like, oh, this is a badass card. But on the back, he's signing autographs, which is cool. But yeah, so he had his ERA was 3.87. His overall record was 39-44 at this point of his career. So clearly not dominant whatsoever. He had 4 complete games in 86, so he was a starter then, but I think he moved to the pen. I think just based off the numbers.
I remember as a relief pitcher. But
yeah, so just based off the numbers, I think they gave him the Ricky Vaughn treatment and said, go to the bullpen.
Right, go to the bullpen.
Jose Rijo.
Jose Rijo and Tony La Russa Day here, Shay. And of course, the opening card thing was sponsored by Absolute Eyewear, which once again, Jimmy pulled an Ernest Biner and did not say that.
Ernest Biner. They have a signed Ernest Biner jersey in the other room. I shit you not.
He blew. Cleveland would have probably won the Super Bowl that year. The Absolute Eyewear, of course, our fine sponsor of Chop Sports and the Jimmy Palumbo Show. Now, Patreon, I'm still mired here. I can't get a 39. I cannot get a Darryl Strawberry, which is driving me nuts. And I was going to give a shout out, but I decided I'm going to give a shout out to Mike Shecky Lawler, big Dolphin fan, for not re-putting his credit card in. And also,
now we're going to start calling out people's financial woes.
Absolutely. We damn right we are. Just cancel it. Don't eliminate yourself. Don't be like, oh, no. You got an email that said, hey, you got to change to April of 2029. And also Pat Volkemer, favorite of Dave Sturchio, has not re-up. So Pat, I know you listen to this show in
That's
6 weeks.
Probably on purpose.
He's behind. Yeah, he's probably busting my chops. But I'm going to have his buddy Johnny Kelly bust his balls. But yeah, we're still at 38. Hopefully we'll get some more getting going. Even I think Mike Caprio of Cornhole famous, but he sponsors the show, so I can't bust his balls. All right. Well, the NFL playoffs, we'll touch on it briefly. I thought the Ravens-Texan game was boring. Lamar Jackson, wow. I tell you,
another level.
Why do people... I always get the sense there's like, Lamar Jackson. No. Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of thinking
You're one
that
of
Lamar.
those?
Well, I was. I was guilty of thinking that he was like a glorified running back with an arm. But dude, the way that guy plays football, sometimes I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it's impossible to stop.
I think he's awesome. So that's what the game was boring. Texans just couldn't get it going. 49ers Packers was a cool game. Our boy Chris Guccio devastated, I'm sure. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. Just a god awful pass by Love at the end of the game. You can't do that. You have 1:10. You have timeouts left. Oh my God!
I saw a side-by-side video of the same throw made by Brett Favre as a member of the Vikings. where he just like was rolling one way and then decided, let's just throw it across the field. And it's just like, you cannot, I don't care how good your arm strength is. It's just not a high percentage
Yeah, the
play.
only
And he's
time
a
you
kid
can
still. So
the
you give
only
him a little
time
bit
you
of a
could
break.
do that is if a player breaks free and he's wide open.
And he comes
And
towards you.
then you just have to get it over there. So then it's not that a risk. But he threw it. It was 5-on-1.
Yeah.
There was no way. And to end the game that way, it was awful. And he didn't have like the last couple of possessions. I don't think he played well either. But you know what? Listen, Packers got pretty far.
Packers were in it. They were in it through the end,
for
man.
Sure.
Like they got the 49ers didn't turn it on until the end.
That's why I just don't have the 49ers going. I just don't think when I watch the 49ers, I don't go like, "Ooh, there you go." I think they're like average.
Well, they also lost Deebo Samuel early. He's one of their big pieces on offense. So that's a big thing.
Guess so. True. You can't deny that. Lions, Bucks. Well, Mayfield threw 2 picks. He had a pretty good season. Definitely resurrected his career. But okay. This is now I'm on the couch now. This is pure Jimmy Palumbo show now. You're down by 14.
Don't get me started. I know where you're going with this guy.
5 minutes ago, whatever that's, you score a touchdown. Touchdown. Here we go. You're on the couch going, all right, cut it to 7.
No.
Let's go for the 2-point conversion. So therefore, if we score with 9 seconds to go, we got to regroup. All right, let's go for the 2 to 9. What are you, a jerk off? What you do is you kick the extra point there. You're down by 7. And then if you want to be a real douche, you go for the 2-point to win the damn thing, not the tie. Worst call I've ever. I don't understand it. I was for a second there.
Analytics will tell you should go for 2 there, and I'm just like,
why?
What analytical?
What analytics say that?
What does it do for you? I don't know. I've never understood it when they lined up for 2.
It's just stupid.
There's no part of me, Jimmy, that's like, oh, I get it. Like,
I don't even like when you're down, and this happens at Rutgers games a lot because we're always down. How about when you're down like 31-3 or something, right? Or 31-6, you're getting your ass kicked. But it's like early in the third quarter, you know what I mean? Very early. And all of a sudden, everybody starts going for 2. I think when you don't get it, number one, it's only 6 points. The momentum goes back to the other team. If guy makes a big hit. Why would you do that? Make it 28-10. You're down by 18. You're still getting your ass kicked. And then what I hate when people do, they get inside the 20-yard line, right? And say they're down by 18, right? And it's like 4th and 9. But they're in field goal range easily. They end up going for we're down so much. No, kick the field goal, make it a 15-point game. Now it's a 2-possession game. But no, the assholes go, no, we're making a 10-point game. No, you're an asshole. Unless it's like 4th and a pubic hair or something. You don't do that. It makes me sick. So stupid. Everybody gets cute during the playoffs. Anyway, and I hate when coaches are pally with the guy like Franklin on Penn State. Woo, hugging and kissing. What about the next play? You're not listening. Thing's stupid. Bills, Chiefs. I think the Bills just blew it.
100%.
Everybody's like, whoa, Mahomes, the magic of Mahomes. I'm like, they were comparing him to Michael Jordan. I read on ESPN. If you saw that, I'm like, no. Jordan would usually score 8 out of 11 points in the final 11. Like, I don't think the Chiefs did anything except for my boy Pacheco. He what a great running back he is.
Bro, he runs like he's angry at the world.
Well, he did that. He did that for Rutgers, but the problem was our offensive line was angry because they sucked. So we had an angry, shitty offensive line in front of him and no tight ends. He got a couple of times Pacheco ran angry and got drilled by. But even there were some games he had like 50 yards on the ground and they were all like blood yards. Like he should have had negative 30 yards, but he got 50 somehow. And players in practice said he was like just eating a lot, but we weren't that good. But good for him, Pacheco. Good story there. Here's another thing. Again, who was that little guy on the Patriots years ago? The little
Julian Edelman.
Yeah. Okay. You got Taylor Swift. You got Kelsey. His brother's going to go to the Hall of Fame. This guy's going to the Hall of Fame probably. How can Kelsey be that wide open on a pass play? To me, I don't know how to. If I was, that's why I would last about 4 hours as a coach, because I would just be like, hey, you got to watch that guy Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey, right? You're going to watch Kelsey? You know why? Because he caught 190 balls in the last 4 games. Kelsey, you got Kelsey? You got him? Because I used to coach with the Giants. It was a tight end on the Cowboys. Did the same thing for us. You got him? Doesn't anybody? It's like quarterbacks when Lawrence Taylor played. He would be like, the guy would be like, blue 81, 56 over to the left there. You got somebody got him 81.
Shaking in his boots.
Yeah, 56. Everybody see him. What the? How can a guy that good be 40 yards open for a touch? Just stupid to me. Anyway, but you know what sucks? You know what really? It was a horrible game. I hate when, although it was good for the Giants when Norwood hit it wide right, but this game was cool, man. It was going to be tied up, a minute and a half to go. Mahomes, can he get him in field goal range? Which maybe good odds he might have because they were, but you never know. One drive, you stall, batted pass, and then you go 3rd and 10. And the guy misses a kick. I don't want to hear about it. It wasn't windy. That was a
knuckleball. No, there was wind, but he kicked the knuckleball. So
goddamn thing. It was a 41-yarder. That's a chip shot, for Christ's sake. It's an extra point. I hated that because I'm like, and then I know when they only had 2 timeouts, I was already doing the math in my head. I'm like, wow, even if they shut them down here, they're going to get the ball back
like
40 seconds.
Yeah.
40 seconds ago, probably inside their own 20. And
it sucks. Tyler Bass had to deactivate his social media accounts because he was getting death threats and shit by Buffalo fans.
And how about this? Was it? God, I'm being stupid here. Yeah, it was the Bills punter.
Has a hamstring issue.
Okay, all right. Now, this is what I can't stand about. When did that occur? The hamstring issue?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, so here's Jimmy Palumbo, head coach. Hey, come on in. Oh, you hurt your hamstring? Well, you're a kicker. All right, yeah. Listen, you can't play this week. We're gonna get a guy in. We're gonna have tryouts. I'm gonna get the punter on West Virginia or Oklahoma last year. He's gonna punt for us. You can't in an NFL playoff game. Oh my God! I think that should have switched the point spread 7 points. Like if you're getting 1, you're now getting 8. You can't punt. I don't understand this. And then the fake punt. Everybody in the building. Your punter looked like Burgess Meredith. And now, oh my God.
I mean, obviously, I got so many things to say about the fake punt, but of all people, they snap it to Damar Hamlin, and I'm just like, oh man,
my God.
Like, so this guy's gonna win comeback player of the year with a stat line of -3 yards rushing for the season.
God.
So
for this, yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Let's give it to the guy with the heart issue. I mean, I don't understand that. That's like,
that's exactly what I said. I'm like, yeah, let's give it to the one person. It's like, do you think were you trying to get cute? Where you're like, oh, they're never expected to give it to Damar, but like, and then when you did, his eyes light up like the 4th of July because here come the Chiefs, and he's just like, I might as well just die on the spot again.
My God,
like, this is ridiculous.
It was awful. It was awful.
Oh
but
God.
You know what? Listen. Bottom line is, my nephew's a big Chiefs fan. You're right there. I don't want you to die on me doing the show.
Another cold again.
You got a cold again. You got
every fucking day.
You probably got COVID. Well, your kids got.
Will you stop with the COVID already? It's a fucking cold. My kids snot all over me every day of my life. I can't. There's never been like a 2-week gap where it's like, oh, Miles, he's got a cold. Oh, Stella, she's banged up. Oh, Dave's banged up. It's a rotation until the spring.
That's why you taking your zinc and all that shit.
Oh yeah, dude, I went and loaded up yesterday. I was just like, give me all the pills.
I get it. I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the Lions to win the whole thing. I think that's a fun story, and I don't know any Lion fans. But the Chiefs, I'm a little tired of the Chiefs. I kind of want to see them get beat, but I don't really like the Ravens either. And also, my nephew's a huge Chief fan. Now, I watched the game with my mother.
I'm a huge Chief fan.
It's crazy, but for years. I don't know. Maybe you like the Rutgers Red.
Is it the like? Look, people are out there like, I love
no. He liked them.
I love the Warriors. Why? Because of Steph Curry. Oh,
no. Like, he's been a fan well before. He's 26. He's been a fan of the Chiefs probably since he's 11. So I don't know why. I should ask him. Probably the red color, I guess. But I watched the game with his mother and father and my mother, so the grandmother. Now,
who is now a star on Instagram and TikTok, by the way.
It was very funny. We got a kick out of doing that. But they were watching the game. My mother was getting excited about the Chief game, which I was watching like half comatose, drinking wine. And she was like, "Oh, for my grandson Jimmy, I want them to win." Blah blah blah. My sister, however, was watching the game purely as a host of a FanDuel show because my nephew. This is the bet he made. You ready for this?
Mm.
He's such a jerk off, and I love him. He does well for himself, so he's not a degenerate, but he's a degenerate gambler. He put a bet in.
People that do well for themselves are degenerate
Right.
gamblers.
No, he's doing okay. I'm only kidding around. He put a bet that the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl.
When did he put that bet in?
Beginning of the year.
Okay.
So thinking,
I mean, there had to be the odds, one of the odds-on favorites.
Yeah. So
one of them.
Whatever amount he put in, they just got to make the Super Bowl, not win it. If they make the Super Bowl, the amount of money he put in and the gamble, whatever the hell it was, he'll have enough to pay for his ticket and airfare to the Super Bowl. Okay. So we probably put a decent amount on it.
Wow.
Then he's got another separate bet that the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. But all he wants to do is win next week because then he's at the game and now it's his house money. He made the bet 5 months ago. And if they win, then he actually profits from the trip. So my poor sister is watching the game like, oh, I just hope they win next week too. I just hope she just cares about the money. She doesn't want them gambling and shit like that.
I have to unfortunately I think it's over. I think the Ravens are going to take care of business. I do. I think they're leaps and bounds better than anybody left in the field.
I agree, but until
it's Mahomes,
Andy Reid, a week to prepare. No, I'm just going to watch the game.
I can't bet. I don't bet.
You can't until Mahomes, and that'll do it. Final score here.
This is how many? It's his 4th straight AFC title game, or 6 straight.
That's a lot.
Something like that. Something crazy. Anyway. He's like fucking Brady all over again.
Right. Well, that which brings us to Absolute Eyewear, 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey. That's right. 733. Jesus. 732-326-3937. Call them up. Craig and Janine Michaud, family-owned, brother and sister licensed opticians here at Shea. They got everything over there, full service eyewear, prescription, sunglasses, eyewear. When you leave there, you don't feel like a jerk off. Best slogan ever. I created it. That's why I know. And of course, they have Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren, Dave Sturchio's Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors Light, Vogue, Maui Jim, and Costa Del Mar. And also, Charles Oakley's kids play in the playroom there.
And he made an appearance last week, too, so that was cool.
That's right. Charles Oakley getting involved. Get a complete pair if you mention me, Dave, Shop Sports, just to say you. If you've ever watched a podcast, they'll give you $100 off. Any podcast. You watch Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
Boom, it goes in. You have to mention the word podcast. And
you have an iPhone, you get $100 off.
That's right. You, too, can be. So that's that. Absolute Eyewear. We love them. Go check them out. Which now we're going to do a special part of our show, sponsored by cornholelevel.com. Dave, what are we calling this new segment here?
This is entitled Jimmy's Credits. And like I said, it's one of those things where I found that since you have a billion of them, that each week we should take one of the ones that you have off of IMDb, or maybe even some that you booked that weren't on IMDb, like maybe a fun commercial spot or anything like that. So this week we did go chalk. Last week we started with your very first IMDb credit, which was Spin City, which, by the way, I watched it. Very funny. Definitely very good episode. And then so this week we went chalk. We went from exactly 4. We went chalk here, meaning when I say that, you got to go to the go-to. It's one of the biggest ones that you've done. It's the one you're probably still getting residual, $1.99 credits and residuals for every so often. It is your appearance. What? What'd you say?
I thought it was my first appearance on the Dave and Chris show podcast.
No, that one you still owe us money.
That's
actually.
In the 2-hole. That's in the 2-hole.
But this
the
one is
liaison.
The biggest.
Sturchio on the right side. Palumbo. We're not sure if he even touched the ball, but he laid it up and in.
He got the ball in bounds. This week we're gonna do your big appearance and working with Jennifer Aniston on the Friends episode, and Debbie Mazar, and it was again. I've seen it a million times on TV. So
we leave the audience in suspense, but of course, Dave always kind of whispers to me which credit we're going to go with. So it's
I
not
mean, I
like
put
I
it in
come
the
clean.
I put in the thumbnail so people kind of knew, but
Right.
anyway.
Well, listen, Friends was wild, a huge. I have so many stories affiliated with Friends for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was season 8. We shot it early in 2002, and I was like a young Giancarlo for like 2001 or 2002. I was seeing the ball real well on auditions. I was booking shit all over the place. Living in LA at the time. Kevin Bright was the director. He's one of the creators. Kaufman, Crane, and Bright. That's at the end of every show. Those are the people, when people say, wow, Jennifer Aniston made a lot of money. She is a poor woman compared to these three, because those three got like first dollar in, like when they were like, they don't have, their great grandkids don't have to work ever again. It's like huge. Anyway, they were very nice people. I did the scene with Debbie Mazar. Now at the time, and I've talked about this maybe a couple times on the show, but Debbie Mazar was there, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a chick from Goodfellas, you know. And of course, a lot of people know her from the agent on Curb, or the manager on Curb, whatever the hell she was. And so she's there, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? She's clearly from Brooklyn or Queens, and she has that accent and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there, and I was like, hey, I had to do a scene with her, so I'm like, hey, do you want to run lines? Sometimes people are like, no, I'm good. And they let you know, like, I don't run lines. I am prepared and you should be. And I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm a quarterback. You want to do it down and out? Let's do like 80 down and out. So
you ran lines for beer league. So yeah,
yeah, you saw. Yeah, I think it's important. You'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we started running lines, and she was like, yeah, I'm nervous. I'm thinking Debbie Mazar, because she had never done a live television show. Live in front of an audience, the 3 camera shoot. And all
how many people are in the audience when they do this kind of stuff? When they say live studio audience, how many are we talking here?
I would say there's like 3 sections, maybe 200, 300, maybe 6 rows. Something like that. 100 to 300, depending. Yeah, and it's always jammed. And of course, the scene I did was with Debbie Mazar, Jennifer Aniston, and David Schwimmer. Now, couple of crazy things, and it's all out of order here. I just made some notes. First of all, being on that set, you're on the Warner Brothers lot. Listen, man, let me tell you, I don't care who you are, and if you're too cool for the room, you're a jerk off. When you go on the Warner Brothers lot, man, this is like, hey, like they shot like fucking Bugs Bunny. Like this is it is the great arena. It is Gladiator. It is Yankee Stadium on a crisp October playoff game 5 at the stadium. You know it. You're like, I had a room to myself, not one of those shitty fucking trailers. I was in a room. It had like Art Deco in the room, and I'm thinking like, what star? Like Clark Gable could have been used in this room, no doubt. It had like a old leather green couch. I had my own phone. I called my mother right away. Mom, on the Warner Brothers lot. It dialed right out. They don't care. There was no like, oh, long distance. I just dialed out. A guy came out first. The guy came out and he said, a guy comes up to the door. Hey, Mr. Palumbo, would you like a sandwich or anything? I'm like, I'll go get it. No, Jimmy, it's better if we get it. We want to make sure you're here. And I'm like, all right, give me bacon, egg, and cheese. A hard rock came back with a gorgeous bacon, egg, and cheese, not the shitty ones with the tinfoil. This was like, some guy was like, I'm making this for Mr. Palumbo. And then the costume lady comes in and they hang it on a beautiful closet, not on the shitty mirror like when you're in a trailer. And it's like, Jimmy, try this on. We'll be back in 20 minutes. See how everything fits. It's like, oh my God, I'm in the big leagues. It was so actors, you have to, and I'm not being cocky. It's just like, I'm like, holy shit. I'm really like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And for some reason, I've said this publicly, I wasn't nervous. Usually, I've done scenes with Tom Selleck. I was shitting myself. I did this for some reason. Every other gig, I get on the set and I'm like, "Hey, what do we do?" Like I'm playing wiffle ball when I was 9. I'm relaxed, and then sometimes I get intimidated. A weird way, or I get uncomfortable, or something makes me feel shitty. I was like a cool cucumber. I was like Elway in the Huddle, man. Like, hey, what's going on? Joe Montana, right? I don't know why. I just was. We get into the room, and we run the lines, and then we had to do a rehearsal during the week. During the day, you do you run the scene, and then they get the camera set, and while we were doing the scene, Debbie Mazar went up on her lines and she cursed. she said shit or God damn it or something like that. And I knew we couldn't use it. So I started cursing back at her. They didn't yell cut. The audience was going nuts. So I was like, you're being a fucking pain in the ass. Oh, fuck you. You're being a jerk off. We're like totally, I don't think we said, I definitely dropped the F-bomb. But I said jerk off, pain in the ass. What's your, was that guy, husband and wife arguing? Meanwhile, she's ready to give birth. And the audience laughed real loud. So I was like, okay, definitely a nice 3-pointer to start the game. And, but the problem was the director goes over to me. He's like, guys, this is an NBC sitcom. You can't curse. And I gave him a look. I couldn't, I didn't have time to like resist. I gave him a look like, yeah, really? I didn't know that. Okay. I didn't know this was an NBC show, you fucking jerk. But he was actually really nice to me. So then we were shooting the scene. I had to get behind the curtain and pull it back. And the way I slouched into the chair, that was me. I ripped the curtain across. It seemed like natural to do. They love that. So I did, like Palumbo was adding his, 7 points, 2 rebounds, key moments of the game. But the funny thing is that, first of all, I was, during that, I was in an acting class and I booked Friends and NYPD Blue like the same week, early 2002. Wow. And I got the call during an acting class. So I'm in this acting class, Karen West. I love her to death. Best acting class ever. I was struggling in the class, but you know what it was? And she knew it too. It's just a story of my whole life. When I'm doing something that I know doesn't count, really like this podcast, I just, you know what I mean? I'm not a good practice player. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you were to say to me, hey, Jimmy, I want to do a run through the podcast live just to see how it looks, I'll be like, I don't want to do that. It's like,
Jimmy don't need no practice.
I'm one of those games that like I'm just not a good practice player. But when the game's on, though, I'm ready to go. And I laugh. And I've been in shows with people during the practices. I'm like, wow, that guy's fucking awesome. And all of a sudden, game time, there's cameras and lights on. And he's like, I'm like, why are you struggling now? You were fucking brilliant all week. Now you suck. I'd rather have me, the guy who's like, I can't even kick a 27-yard field goal. Then during the game, I'm booming 55-yarders, And I don't know why, but someday I'm going to get bit in the ass and I'll suck in a big show. But it was just so weird to go back in. We took a break during the acting class, and I got the call, Jimmy, you booked Friends, and then he goes, and you booked NYPD Blue. Those were 2 big shows at the time. I came back into class, and I had a weird grin on my face.
I quit.
Well, I was like, and I just did a shitty scene with this other girl, and the other girl was mad at me because I wasn't any good. I didn't even get the scene. It was one of those, like, I don't know, it was like one of those scenes where you had to actually act and be good. It was like a so I didn't like the scene. I didn't like the girl. I didn't like anybody. I wanted to go home. I was tired. I went out the night before. And so it's bad, me being a jerk off. And she's like, Jimmy, is everything okay? And I was like, oh, I'm going to uppercut this whole class. I'm going to uppercut. Like, but I felt like I was like Bone Crusher Smith in the corner of the ring in trouble. I was like, yeah, I just got a really good phone call. I was able to book something. And I made it, I kind of ended it like, we're not going to talk about what we're going to book. And I was like, oh, if she takes a step, if she leaves herself open, she's like, oh, would you mind sharing what the booking is? And I'm like, oh, here we go. The mouthpiece is going to come flying out right now. I said, oh, I booked that show. I said, I booked that show, Friends, as if like, I did like, as if like,
as if nobody's ever heard of it.
Yeah. I'm going to play for that Yankee team. I immediately became De Niro in the acting class. Everyone was like, oh my God, you really? Who'd you read for? I read for that. I'm like, no, I booked it. I'm going to be shooting it on Monday. And then I'm like, and then I did it. NYPD Blue was a big show at the time. Then I realized now that the acting coach is all over. I threw out, yeah. They also told me I booked NYPD Blue. Man, what a day. And they were like,
would you like to teach Jimmy?
And it was funny. I still did a shitty job in that class, but then she directed a short film. She cast me in it. Good move. Cast the asshole book friend. But it was wild to do. Jennifer Aniston, first of all, my character officially is called Sick Bastard. I'm almost positive it was Sick Fat Bastard, and they changed it. But I wasn't that fat then. But when you look at the scene, my hair is like golden brown, auburn. Now I look like I'm an old man now. But the Jennifer Aniston, during some of the rehearsals, me and Debbie Mazar we would be great on a show together. So casting people, put me in a room with Debbie Mazar and we will run the table. She looked at us and she just said, "Oh my God, you guys are so funny." It was really on, and Schwimmer was smiling the whole time. And so that, and I also had the thing I do in my stand up. The director came over. My eye line was off when I'm behind the curtain. I was looking in the wrong spot. I was looking at like Jennifer Aniston's face as if I'm staring at her. That was the character. But because of the camera angle, I had to cheat it. So I had to look like somewhere else. And he's trying to show me. And Jennifer Aniston had like those thin sweatpants on. It was during rehearsal, and she had like a t-shirt on. She's pretty. She's a pretty girl without much makeup on either. Again, this is 20 years ago. Now she's a veteran, but she was running a 4.3, and definitely double coverage. She was Kelsey. And, so he looked and he goes, I kind of look like at Jennifer and Jen's, kind of look at like Jen's ass. That, and I was like, oh. You didn't even look at Jennifer Aniston's ass? There is no better player in the country. I am at least tied for the best player in the country, best actor. You put Laurence Olivier De Niro and Jimmy Palumbo with the task of looking at Jennifer Aniston's ass, and we are tied. Okay, there's no labor right there. Anybody gets that joke? That's another funny thing. But so I did that, and then years later, every anniversary. Oh, so then if I'm getting boring, I'm getting boring. But so then the show comes out. And when you shoot a sitcom, you're like 95% sure you're in it because they only shoot they shoot it's not like a movie you can cut out. The movie's an hour long. They cut out scenes. It's not that way with sitcoms. And so we decided to go to a bar in Hoboken with like, when I was telling people I'm going to be on Friends, this is like before cell phones and shit. We had 60 people at the bar right by the pass station there in Hoboken. When you go downstairs, they had music all the time. And my buddy Deej, Alphonse from Beer League, was the bartender. She goes, bring everybody here, bring everybody. So I didn't like it. It was an open tab. He was like, And my buddy Anthony Mastromarro, who produced Beer League, owned the bar, and his brother was there. And they were happy I was bringing all these people in. So we're all there, and there was like hot chicks. And I was single at the time. I was like, what a great thing. But I'm thinking, this is creepy. What if they don't? Someone's definitely going, look at this douchebag. He's on Friends, and he's inviting people. So we're hanging out with I'll never forget it, my buddy Tommy, and he was sitting right next to me, and he's like, this is great. He literally was like, dude, you got to book more work. There's more ass at bars when we go out. When you book, he was totally like Entourage. He was like, yeah. He goes, all I need is the ball, and you just got to book work. We do these things, and I win. You know what I mean?
He's turtle. So
I thought I was in the second scene of the sitcom, but I guess I lost track, because it'd been 3 months since I shot it. So the first scene comes on, right? Deej turns all the TVs on, all volume, right? Everybody's going nuts. They're all excited. So the first scene comes on, right? And I'm like, well, all of a sudden they go to a commercial. And of course they're like, what do you want? What do you want? Oh, the bitchy Hoboken chick said, remember those kind? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Just enjoy it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the second scene, I'm thinking, here we go, right? We're going to get the win here. And the second scene goes on and they go to a commercial. Right. So my buddy Tom is like, dude, what the fuck? You're on this, right? Dude, I'm out of here. If we're not on this, I'm going out the back door. I'm going to punch you in the face. He's doing all this shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm in it. So I looked at him. I go, Tom, if you don't see me very soon after the commercial break, it's third and very long and we have no timeouts. Next thing you know, off the commercial break, you kind of see me through the window of the door. And then all my buddies just tackled me. Nobody watched it. Like half the girls watched it. My buddies were like, they were throwing napkins at me. I got pummeled on the floor. Thank God I taped it on my VCR at home. I barely got to see the scene. They were like, oh my God. And people were like, there was one old guy drinking at the bar though. To this day, I would love to interview him because he didn't really know what was going on. He was like, what the fuck are they cheering Friends for? And so that was a really, really fun night. We got out of there. I got home at like 6:30 in the morning. Then I had a pager. I think my pager was going off. I was like, this is awesome. But it was certainly a lot of fun. But I will tell you, one of the coolest moments in showbiz for me. they before they start taping, like the guy comes on, he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the," and I knew this was the season finale. That they did an hour. I'm in the first half hour. Welcome to the season finale of Friends, right? But when they shut the lights and they put that, dude, it was bedlam. People were screaming. It was like the Beatles on, and so it was like nuts. People were like fainting and screaming, "Oh my God!" with your stars, Jennifer Aniston, David Schwimmer. And I remember going, like, and one girl almost hyperventilated. One of these extras that had to walk in, and she was like, and I'm like, relax, just do your thing. Like, I don't know why. Meanwhile, I was like, oh man, it's a crisp fall night here in the Bronx. You know what I mean? But it was wild. But now at the end of the show, I know I'm taking a lot of time telling the story. Most of my booking stories are not this long, but this was a big one.
This is the big one.
At the end of the show, they announce each star. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Aniston. They come out and the crowd goes
Yep.
In front of the live audience.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first 5 guys, by the way, I met Matthew Perry, I didn't have a scene with him, so I met him for like 30 seconds, and it was just hi, and I had no interaction with him at all. And so they announced when the place goes nuts. And then they did Janet. Oh my God, that one, whatever, was what's his name? Girlfriend doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Chandler Bing's girl, Janice. Yep. And she got a really nice, now I'm at the end of the line. Like, I'm already like, I am definitely not on Kiner's corner. No, only true fans at home know I had 6 points in the last 7 minutes of the game that were used. I hit all my free throws too. And so then they get to this other girl who I didn't think had a big scene. She was ahead of me, and I was kind of like, I think I should have been won over. But what are you gonna do? They said her name, and she got the like, yeah, here's a guy, like Old Timers Day. Here's a guy back in 1961 had a big 3-game series against the Indians. Nobody cares,
right?
And but then they say my name, and I was expecting that, like, thanks for coming down. You'll get the free home version of Friends, right? Dude, the crowd went nuts. I guess that scene I did with Debbie Mazar, they got a kick out of, and they went nuts, so much so that the 5 cast members, the Friends, they leaned over to look like, who's that asshole that's getting like, I felt like saying, I should have been in the 6 hole here. No, Janice, you are not. Palumbo is stealing your thunder. I couldn't believe it. That was a good feeling. That means I did something right. So yeah, then it aired, and then it became, I think 31 million people watched that episode or something crazy, because she has the baby. All you got to do is tell people. Some people say, you were on Friends? What episode? I'm like, I just go the one when she has the baby, Jennifer. And they're like, oh my God, you were sick bastard, and shit like that. So it's definitely an episode that was cool. So that was that. So that is my Friends booking credit story, sponsored by cornholelevel.com. That's right. Go to Cornhole Level. You know what, Dave? It didn't happen to me on the set of Friends. I know it's happened to you. Your cornhole is off. And that's what we talked about just before the telecast. You need a cornhole leveler. You just hook it right into the hole there. Okay, put up your Showtime hands, and you are leveled here. They're $19.95. You get 20% off if you put in JP Show. Perfect gift, perfect for the big spring cornhole tourneys that are going on all over America. Mm-hmm. And so check that out, cornholelevel.com. One of my favorite sponsors, my buddy Mike Caprio. Television. I'm watching programs. I'm 4 episodes into Reacher, season 1. I'm enjoying
season 1?
I had to start from the beginning. I didn't want to jump in. I know season 2 is going to be fun.
Awesome.
Don't tell me a thing.
I'm not hearing nothing.
And the other show I'm really enjoying, I'm going back and forth, which is why it's taken me a long time. Have you been watching Louder Milk on Netflix?
I watched the first 3 episodes so far. I was put on, and I was put on by, you said it. So I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot.
I think it's funny as hell. I think it's...
I'm indifferent.
You're not buying in?
I'm not buying in yet, but my
love
stepmom,
the dialogue.
my dad told me, my parents told me, like, give it a chance. Like, it's good. Like, and I'm like, all right.
And I love the actor, Livingston. He's great.
Oh, he's great. He's great. He's one of my favorite movies growing up was Office Space.
Yeah, Office Space. He's great in Band of Brothers. He gets, what's funny? He gets no credit. Like, people, I don't know. maybe because Office Space is like a silly comedy, but I like. I tell you, he's 27 points a game. You know, he's
Yeah.
he's Randall, if you ask me. But it's a funny show, man. And this my buddy Jackie Flynn's actually in it. I met him at my buddy Eddie's wake, and in fact, Peter Farrelly was at the wake as well, which was cool. And I did the cool thing, didn't go up to him. I didn't feel like going because I didn't watch the show, nor did I give a fuck. But Jackie Flynn, well, I think I'm going to have on the show the next couple of weeks. He's a great comedian. But here's something ridiculous. This guy Reacher, right? Alan Ritchson.
Big Christian.
Okay. How do you say Ritchson? That's how you say it?
Yeah, but I said big Christian, not Richard, but yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I'm watching the show and I'm like, who is this guy? I looked him up on IMDb. He's one of those actors that has worked a lot. I have never watched a second of him I didn't watch Mutant Ninja Turtles. He did a couple of these action movies. He did Thor
I'm trying to figure out if he's a good actor or not, because it's like you're only 4 episodes in, but nothing changes. That's who he is throughout the whole thing.
Right.
And you're like, you're looking at him like, all right, but no, apparently he might play Batman next.
Well, all I know is I don't know who the hell this guy is. I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And the girl in the show, in the first season anyway, so don't ruin anything. She probably gets her face blasted in one of these. In the beginning, I'm like, she's not that hot. But then they have that bar scene when they go to the Roadhouse. All of a sudden, wait a minute here. Getting involved is the sidekick with her hair down. She comes in and lights up the garden here. She grows on you after a while. So anyway, I'm enjoying Reacher. That's a fun show to get involved.
It'll definitely even get better.
I also rewatched Band of Brothers. Listen, anybody who hasn't seen Band of Brothers, wow, it just makes every other TV show suck.
It's funny. I think it's Vince Vaughn's line in something where somebody turns on him and he's like, Band of Brothers, watch it. Right? Because he's just like, there's no bigger movie than that to show you that, or series that rather.
Yeah. To me, it's better than Saving Private Ryan. It's better than any other movie to watch if you really want to show how. And I'm researching stuff at World War I because of my grandfather. But All Quiet on the Western Front, the one that just came out. Did you watch that yet?
No.
Okay. Well, you can't watch it with your wife or kids, even in the house.
Oh, okay.
That's definitely the Saturday afternoon of Super Bowl when they don't play the week before.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, there's no way you'll be like, I dozed off in the middle of All Quiet on the Western Front. No, you didn't, because you're like, this movie. Everybody talks about the first 5 minutes of Saving Private Ryan when they land on Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is an hour and 55 minutes of that. You're like, oh my God, what a horrible, horrible experience for these men. They were getting shot, heads blown. It was all in the pits and the mud and the trenches. And you're like, yeah, believe me, you nobody talks about the frozen tundra at Lambeau when you get done watching this movie.
Mm.
It's totally worth it. It's a great movie. But I got to get done with these. I got to catch up with Loudermilk because I think it's two or three seasons in, and Reacher is 2 seasons in, so I'm behind.
Yeah.
Hopefully this week I'll be able to catch up. Also, I did stand up on Friday, and for the Ramsey Lacrosse, and that went really well. I had Ryan Marr and Chip Ambrosio was on the show. We did a nice job. It was sold out. The Knights of Columbus there. We did a really nice job. It was funny though, because I was like, I hate lacrosse. So the coach is sitting to my right. I really do. I hate watching it. I think it's a great sport to play. It's horrible to watch. And people say, no. And I just started fucking on the goalie who's got this little tennis racket with shorts on. And the improv thing I said, which got a laugh, was everybody, like you're at a lacrosse match and these kids are throwing this hard rubber ball 125 miles an hour on a ball sack at the end of a stick, and they're whipping it at this goalie, right? And the goalie, he just goes, hits the back of the net, right? And then you hear a guy in the stands like, you got to make that save. I'm like, really? 100-mile-an-hour fastball, 4 feet, and the guy can spin and whip it under his balls underneath. The guy can't. I've never seen a goalie even make a save. It's impossible. Then you get the dopey guy with the long stick. Anyway, But I did another joke that's inappropriate for this family hour here. But but then I look over, the coach is sitting right there, like head coach Ramsey Lacrosse. I'm like, hey, but then I said, I'm only kidding. I don't mind the sport. So that was fun to do. Which, of course, brings us to Shit Your Body Needs Day here at the stadium. I remember my first Shit Your Body Needs, sponsored by ChasingMiracles.com. Go to ChasingMiracles.com. Give Tommy and Donna a call. They have these stem cell patches. They work great. I hurt my foot the other day. I put it on, and next day, they felt fine. This shit works. It gives you better energy. It gives you healing, all this different stuff. Non-invasive, no needles. The stuff works. My mother uses them. Her knee's feeling better. She's actually not getting surgery, or at least putting it off, and that works for us. This stuff really is the real deal. Athletes use them all the time. Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, and ex-SEAL members, those SEAL team guys who, have to like get naked and dive underwater for 4 days and come out, and they wear those things. How bad would I be as any kind of military SEAL or anything like
you'd
that?
be terrible.
Oh my God.
Awful.
I mean, I would be the guy. What do we got to do? No. That guy hit that. What they're gonna see?
You're basically Pauly Shore in the Army now.
Oh, that's right. I would last any kind of military thing where you have to, even the invasion of Normandy. Like, hey, you're gonna be in a parachute, and you're gonna land in enemy territory, and you have to land and roll up your thing so nobody can see we landed while they're shooting at you in the sky. I would be like, every bullet that whizzed by, I'd be like, oh my God, hey dude, you get these bullets by you. I would be a horrible military man. Horrible. But anyway, ChasingMiracles.com. That's why I wear the patches, because it makes me want to join the military. So go check that out. We also, don't forget, Pine Tar Bar and Grill down in Forked River, New Jersey. Best sports bar ever. Go say hello to my buddy Tommy down there. And also Lisa Ruane, therapist, 201-725-1251. And that's that. Also, I was able to finally see Artie Lang.
Oh, yeah?
I went to go visit him.
How's he doing?
He's coming along. He's coming along.
Good.
Hopefully he'll, be able to start doing
Does
something.
he look? Does he look like he's driven? Does he look like he's ready to go?
He looks all right. He's got these things. He looks all right. It was just good to see him. Gave him a big hug, and I saw his mother, and we had a few laughs, a few chuckles. I'm going to try to see him this week if I can. I'd love to get him involved with beer league again. That would be really big.
It'd be awesome.
And we'll go from there. So
anyway,
that's it. Anything else from you? Your kids? I saw pictures of you having a little lunch with your kids.
Nah, that'll do it. There's not much going on the home front. Just rolling through. Playoffs are almost over. So
you're in your Yankee gear and you're
ready to go.
Ready
Baseball,
to go.
baby.
What is that? Pitchers and catchers is like
2 weeks from now.
Wow. As soon as you start, the best is when they do those games on WFAN, those preseason games they put on the radio.
They're the worst.
And you get to the 8th inning, you're like, oh, baseball's on. And then you're like,
who's number 81? And why is he?
Now, number 174, Domingo Ramirez Chavlevo. He batted 270 down in AAA.
Right.
And he gets a base hit, and you're like, this guy's
got some problems. He's got some pop.
And then you realize, well, in single A, he batted 210, and he just got a base hit at the right time. Anyway, all right, that's it. Jimmy Palumbo Show here, getting involved from the Omni. That's about it. I know I had something else to say, but I don't have it. I forget. Rutgers sucks in basketball.
Good in wrestling. Keep going.
Yeah, they're good in wrestling. They're good in wrestling. They're so good. They're 8th in the Big Ten. They're awesome.
Big Ten's pretty good.
I'm telling you, pretty good. I'm telling you right now, Rutgers can easily win the national championship in football and basketball in the same season than they can winning in the Big Ten. There's no way.
Yeah,
you ever see some of those guys in the Big Ten? Like everybody's record is 70.
Man.
Lifetime record 180-2. Only 2 losses coming as a freshman.
As a disqualification, no show or some shit.
Penn State, Ohio State.
That's crazy.
Iowa, forget about it. No way.
Minnesota.
If your kid's a good wrestler, you send them there. That's how it works. NIL Day here at Shea. All right, everybody. That's it. Jimmy Palumbo Show 149. We'll see you next week. We have a special guest next week. Adam Seitz is coming on the show. He talks more than I do, and Dave, you're going to see that. And we're trying to get Jackie Flynn from Loudermilk on the show as well. All right, that's it. We'll see you later.